You know, the boxing world just gets stranger and stranger every single day. This morning, Deontay Wilder is now the leading competitor to take on Alexander Usyk. Not only that, not only are we going to be seeing most likely Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder, which isn't really that strange considering, the past sort of 12 months. The strange part is we could be seeing this fight for the first and inaugural Zuffa heavyweight world title. Imagine that. Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder for the first Zuffa heavyweight world title. Now, this is the news coming out of this morning. I think we've all agreed that the most likely person for Alexander Usyk to take on in his final fight is Deontay Wilder. And if you were to put money on it and say who right now do you reckon Alexander Usyk's going to face, it's going to be Deontay Wilder. That was my stance, though, you know, back 6 months ago. Back 6 months ago, I says, put a gun to my head right now and pick a competitor for Alexander Usyk. I would have said Deontay Wilder when they were talking about taking it to San Francisco in front of 130-odd thousand people and that whole debacle. And then all of a sudden, we got Alexander Usyk taking on Rico Verhoeven and Deontay Wilder not taking the Alexander Usyk fight in favor of taking a fight with Derek Chisora. So nothing's ever finalized. I thought we were very, very close to seeing that fight, like I said, a few months ago. But does seem like Usyk's come back around. So was Wilder to take this fight. There was always that intrigue for Alexander Usyk to take that Deontay Wilder fight because for me personally, when I look at why Alexander Usyk would want to take on Deontay Wilder, I think a lot of it has to do with Deontay Wilder being an American. The fact is, Alexander Usyk's whole career has basically been European and, UK-based fighters. You look at his heavyweight reign and we're looking at Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois. He's never gotten that big American name. And unfortunately, when you look at American heavyweights over the past 10, 15 years, Deontay Wilder is the only name. Deontay Wilder is the only name that you can put towards American heavyweight boxing. He is an American heavyweight. He is an American heavyweight that became a world champion. Whatever you think of Deontay Wilder, he's the only one in the past 10 or 15 years that has actually done it. So Alexander Usyk has limited options in trying to enter the American market, but Deontay Wilder is that entry into the American market. It'll also spread his name through the Americas. I'm sure, most of the American population that follow boxing know exactly who Alexander Usyk is, but they've never had the privilege of watching him on American soil or up against an American fighter. So some of that interest will be lost because the fact is it was always Usyk versus a UK fight, and we know that rift between UK and US boxing. So that all makes sense, but it's likely, from what we're hearing, to be held as a Zuffa event. Now, Sergey Lapin spoke this morning. Usyk versus Wilder is definitely one of the loudest and most realistic options right now. And we have had conversations with Zuffa, but there is no agreement yet, and the final structure and numbers still need to make sense. From Zuffa's side, Alexander would obviously bring immediate legitimacy to their heavyweight title and the whole boxing project. From our side, it has to be much bigger than simply helping establish a new belt. It needs to be the right opponent, the right platform, and the right financial package for Alexander Usyk's final chapter. Lapin also added that the first refusal for Alexander Usyk's swan song will be given to Turki Al-Sheikh. Now, so obviously, you give Turki Al-Sheikh, who's helped Alexander Usyk in a lot of these big events, given him a lot of big paydays and a lot of big, platform to show how good Alexander Usyk is. You give Turki Al-Sheikh the first right to refusal of, do you want to hold this fight? Yes or no? What are you offering me? If not, we're going to go take our business somewhere else, which is the right way to do it. All right, you've got to give Turkey first in. But what it sounds like to me is obviously Zuffa. There's no doubt. If Zuffa could get Alexander Usyk, it would do it. But the key line in this is it needs to be the right financial package. And you know what? To an extent, the right platform. Most of the Zuffa events get shown on Paramount Plus. That's not a very big platform at the moment. All right, that's not as big as what DAZN has and how they, show those fights. It's still a big platform. You still get a lot of the UFC viewership from that, but it's not as big as what the viewership platform is that Turki Al-Sheikh and DAZN would offer. So they've got to settle that. which I don't think is hard because Zuffa works closely with Turkey. I think it would be quite easy to chuck it on a DAZN card or even on a Netflix card. I think the Netflix would be even bigger than the Paramount one. But it's the right financial package. Obviously, Zuffa will have to spend big. But if they're going to give tens of millions to Conor Benn for taking on Regis Prograis, I don't think a couple of $100 million to Alexander Usyk is that far of a stretch. You know, if you would saying that Conor Benn was getting $500K, then fair enough. But if I'm hearing that people like Johnny Fisher are getting $1 million deals, I don't think at the start of your enterprise to give Alexander Usyk 150 million, because that's about what he takes, is that bad. I don't think it's that bad. But does Zuffa want to spend that? Because that's what it will cost. That's what it will cost to take Alexander Usyk into the ring against Deontay Wilder, because I'm sure that's the type of offer he would be getting from Turki Al-Sheikh, and that's the offer that he's been getting from Turkey. I mean, he got, 100 and something mil for taking on Daniel Dubois. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was, I swear, over 100 mil. So in your last fight, you're going, like, Alexander Usyk will bring countless numbers to Zuffa boxing, all right, just off his own presence alone, and bring, like they say, a bit of legitimacy to that heavyweight title. It's not going to be the most legit belt because we've got Alexander Usyk, who has vacated all his recognized world titles, looked very poor against Rico Verhoeven, and he'll be taking on Deontay Wilder, who everybody would agree Deontay Wilder doesn't deserve a world title shot. So there's only a certain amount of legitimacy it can bring, but it's still Alexander Usyk's name attached to the Zuffa belt. The Zuffa belt, a new belt, Alexander Usyk, one of the greatest heavyweights we've seen, if not, the greatest heavyweight we've seen over the past 20 years. So for Alexander Usyk, it's a big call. Now, I've seen all the comments online regarding this. People are not happy. People are trying to discredit Alexander Usyk. People are talking shit about Alexander Usyk and saying, why are you making this career move? It's going to wreck your career and all of this. Now, for me, Alexander Usyk would have to lose to ruin his career, but I can understand why people are mad that Alexander Usyk is selling himself out to take a fight with Zuffa. And most of those people are people that really, really, really despise Zuffa, and everything, no matter what Zuffa do, it's always going to be wrong. Now, when I look at this, I want to just give a different angle to look at this, all right? I'll give my opinion on what I reckon Alexander Usyk should do, but can I give you a different viewpoint on this, maybe from what Alexander Usyk's saying? I reckon Alexander Usyk is looking around at his options and saying, if I'm going to take on Deontay Wilder for nothing, why not attach it to a Zuffa belt? Because at the end of the day, whether you hate Zuffa, whether you love Zuffa, you are not in control of Zuffa, neither am I. We don't know what Zuffa is going to be in 15, 20, 30, 40 years' time. Let's say Zuffa do what they want to do and become the biggest boxing powerhouse in the world. Well, Alexander Usyk right now has an opportunity to attach himself to being the first holder of that heavyweight world title. And that's something that history can't repeat. So if you're going to fight for nothing, why not take a risk and say, let me attach my name to something that one day could be great. Now, one day, all right, 10, 15 years time, Zuffa could be non-existent and it's like it never even happened. And at the end of the day, what have you lost? And I think that's what Alexander Usyk can look at. If you're getting the same payday, if you're getting the fight that you want, why not say, let's attach it to a belt that one day could be the belt, and I will have been the first and inaugural holder of that belt. Like I said, we don't know what it's going to end up as. For me, for Alexander Usyk, at the end of the day, I could care fucking less. I could care fucking less. I don't particularly love what Zuffa are doing. I think Zuffa will end up, either striving leaps and bounds or digging themselves a hole in the next 5 years. The way that they're paying fighters, the way that they're trying to set up, the fact that they've got people like Shakur Stevenson attached to them, and nobody knows who Shakur's going to fight, and there's really no options for Shakur to fight. They're building their own sort of hurdles and their problems, and they're, constantly changing their opinions on different things. I think it's being run, quite frankly, like a bit like shit at the moment, but time will tell whether it will work or not. For Alexander Usyk, I would have preferred if you just retired anyway. So if you're going to take on Deontay Wilder, I couldn't care less where you put it. That's the end of the day, my opinion on the whole fact. I know some people are very strongly opinionated that they don't like that Alexander Usyk's taken this fight, and I can understand that. I know what Zuffa are trying to do, and I don't particularly like it either. And Alexander Usyk going over there and helping them, because that's what it will be doing, is a problem. But at the end of the day, this is the new modern era of boxing. I hope Turki Alashayk gives Alexander Usyk and Wilder a huge deal and says, let's do this last fight as a farewell. I want you. But at the end of the day, if Turki Alashayk declines and there's no other offers, you're putting Alexander Usyk in a bind. If he's going to get 150 mil to fight for Zuffa, or he's going to get 0 and retire now, you'd be stupid to not take that extra 100 million and fight for Zuffa, aren't you? Anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this fight. Look, these are all very early proceedings. And like I said, the first time we tried to see Usyk versus Wilder a few months ago, it fell to complete and entire fucking tatters. So nothing is a guarantee until it is a guarantee. I like the Usyk versus Wilder fight. You know what the biggest thing is? Imagine if Wilder won. Imagine if Wilder, after everything that Usyk's fought, after everybody that he's been through, after the challenges, after the undisputed, after the gold medal, imagine if it's Deontay Wilder that hands Alexander Usyk a loss. And imagine Deontay Wilder, the inaugural Zuffa world champion. That is a true world champion right there. Deontay Wilder, the Zuffa champion. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here, guys. See ya.